Oh, hello, John.
Oh, hello, Spencer.
How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good.
All
I was
right.
going to let that lead into a different thought, but that was pretty good by itself.
Okay.
So we've had a couple people since our last episode contact me and ask what the guild I'm in on Dragon Ball Legends is.
Oh, really?
So if there's anybody out there that wants to join, I just went through, like, we were full up. So I went through and deleted everybody that hadn't logged in over a month, and I ended up deleting over half of the guild. So it just goes to show at like how active everything was before I got there, especially because I'm always number one in the point rankings every week.
Wow.
Like, I don't think I play that much. Probably more than I should.
Does it speak poorly of the original guild members or speak highly of you?
Well, the original guild member just left me in charge.
Right. No, I remember the dung shoveler thing. We talked about this.
And so I don't know. Anyway, so if you want to join that guild on Dragon Ball Legends, again, if you're not prone to microtransaction hell, I would recommend the game. It's pretty fun. The guild ID is M7JUZ8PN. Feel free to go on in there and have a good time. It's called the Kaioken. But I tried to change the description to be like, hey, welcome if you're a fan of Arcade's Dragon Ball Z, but it wouldn't accept the characters for some reason. And I thought that it was because the word hate in
That's what I was going to say. It's hate, and then Dragon Ball Z follows it. And so the auto detector was like, no one hates Dragon Ball Z.
Ooh, maybe. I even tried DBZ. It wasn't having any of it. And so I went online, and apparently it's just a really shitty detection system. Like, some people were having trouble with if they added a space, it wouldn't accept it. But if they deleted the space, they'd be fine.
What?
Or the letter S, or like just random stuff. So I don't think it's like totally up to snuff, but that it's me. That's the me one.
You don't have a cute little, you don't have an acronym? You're not going to acronym this shit?
But the acronym, the guild ID? Hang on.
Come up with a mnemonic device.
The acronym is Monkey 7, just utilize Zambonis. 8 peons now.
Why did I ask for this?
What was the first website you ever visited on the internet?
Is this our intro? The first website I ever visited on the internet. You remember the really cool frisbees that they used to send out that came with the internet on it?
Yeah.
Called AOL. The very first website that I ever went to was webcrawler.com. The search engine, much like Google, but they don't call it crawl in it when you're searching for something. So guess which one won?
I guess that's true. My first website was probably Google then. What was directly after that, though?
I don't know. You're making me think. Hang on. I'm trying to comb. I got to comb through the sand that is years and years of. Well, you go and let me think. You
All
go.
right.
What was your first? Do you really remember the first website you ever
Dude,
went
I remember
to?
the first time I logged onto the internet. It was a big deal because my parents were like, nah, it's not safe. And then finally they were like, well, okay. So I was upstairs in the computer room, and my mom was across the hall doing her own thing, but she insisted that I leave the door open so that she could, check in on what I was doing. I was like, couldn't have been more than 10. So I had the door open. I was sitting in the family computer, and I logged on, and all the modem noises were made. I was so excited at this vast new gateway to a new world. It was like that scene in Wreck-It Ralph where he walks into the lobby and there's all these doors to go into. Like, it just seemed endless. And I didn't know. Like, I kind of froze once I was actually connected. And I just got on Google and I searched stuff that I knew. So the first website that I ended up at was like a Keebler Elf cookie website.
Oh, you mentioned this in one of our commentaries, I think.
I just played games, like little flash games that they had set up for a while. Like, I wasn't like a huge Keebler Elf fanatic. I just that was what I knew. Maybe I was eating cookies or something at the time. But I remember that day as like a failed opportunity to utilize Zambonis, utilize the full extent of the world in front of me. It was unique. It was a unique experience for sure.
Was that just printing from memory, Zambonis?
Yeah. It's the acronym. It's already stuck in my head.
The first thing I did on the internet wasn't go to a website. The very first contact that I had online with anybody was through Doom. I was 6 and
Doom was multiplayer?
Yeah, through dial-up connection. There was a little utility that you could get on a floppy disk called Duango, I think. Let you just dial up connect to anybody in the world.
Were you really 6 playing Doom?
Yeah, my dad was super responsible. I had Doom and Diablo installed on my own personal computer when I was 6 years old. My childhood, other than most of it, was fucking rad.
I had to beg my parents to get me Diablo.
It's probably why I'm so screwed up now, is like when I was 6, I was watching blood and demon titties. And anyway, so first experience online was I played with my neighbor across the street. I played Doom, and you could chat in Doom. You could type. He had typed out a misspelling of the word fuck. So he typed out like FAK. And I was like, this kid's stupid. I know how to spell fuck. And so I typed out fuck you. And that just so happened to be the time when my mom came in and was like, you're never getting on the internet again. That was it. That was like my last experience using the internet at home, was me correcting my friend's misspelling of the word fuck.
Wow.
Which I realize now this whole story is perfectly in line with who I am as a human being, really.
You were just trying to help.
I was just trying to correct the proper usage of the word fuck. So you didn't get a chance to correct anybody's misspelling of a.
As the years passed by, I eventually got Diablo, and that's like my first experience with interacting with people online.
Yeah.
It went about as well as you could expect.
Well, Diablo was a weird one because it was like a lot of survival games are now, in that you could just attack the other players at any time.
Yeah.
Like there was no protection against that.
Yeah.
And there were crazy hackers that would just do insane things all the time.
Yeah, it was great.
Which I honestly think is a pretty good segue. Actually, you know what? Maybe you do the last time. I'll just cut me out, because that was really bad.
You're doing great, John. Last time on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z.
Thanks, Dad.
Goku, being dead, decided to meet the dead captain of the other world.
Sorry, keep going. Sorry.
So him and a monkey and a cricket went to go see him, but the monkey and the cricket weren't allowed on the plane, so they just went to a small planet where there was a giant palace, and they met a grandpa, and the grandpa wanted everybody to fight, so they fought, and then there was a green frogman, and they fought, and then Goku won because he always wins. And now we're here, 7 years later, on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z.
Holy shit. Why don't I ask you to do that more often? I'm serious. Oh, I wasn't in a bad mood, but I am in a better mood than I was before. Welcome to Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z, a Dragon Ball Z rewatch podcast. My name is John, and I don't usually go first, but here we are.
I'm Spencer, and I'm unsettled at going second.
And today we're going to be listening, watching, reviewing one of those three. Pick one. Episodes 200 through 204 of Dragon Ball Z, starting with episode 200, which is a milestone, by the way.
It is. It was weird opening up my notes and typing episode 200.
Yeah, I think we should celebrate that. But right after we celebrate, a gigantic shout out to our top tier patrons, which we have multiple of now.
That's an S, baby.
Which is nonsense. It's utter nonsense. You're both super insane, which is, in fact, the tier. I'm not making a pun, but I made up the tier, so I made the... Anyway, thank you to both Spencer Feuerstein and announcing, for the first time, a second individual who's helping to sponsor this podcast. Can you believe it? Can you believe it?
Don't keep me waiting anymore, John. I can't handle it.
Can you believe it? It's Tyler Hyatt!
Dude, welcome. And thank you.
Seriously.
For your contribution. It means a lot, man.
You're super insane.
Start off with episode 200. The Japanese title is 7 years since then. Starting today, I'm a high school student. The American title is Gohan Goes to High School.
My episode title for this one is the one where... Fuck it, I have nothing.
What do you mean you have nothing?
I love this episode so much, and it's so fucking good that I don't have a title for it.
Wow. Really?
I don't know how you felt about it.
Well, I liked it a lot.
These 5 episodes were, and I say this a lot, like my favorite, blah, blah, blah. These were 9 out of 10 Dragon Ball Z episodes. And I'm sorry, let me back that up. These were 9 out of 10 TV show episodes. And not just TV show that you've been watching for 200 episodes. It's
amazing that at this point in the show's run, they managed to mix up the formula so much that I felt like I was watching a new show.
A completely different television show that I liked more.
Yes, that could be interpreted as bad, right? Changing stuff so much, but they evolved the characters and like refocused the show, at least for these episodes, where I was re-engaged with Dragon Ball Z.
Yes.
It's really hard to explain. And I was wrestling with these feelings while I was watching these episodes.
Yeah.
But it was all positive.
It was this weird confusion of why do I love this so much when it's not at all what I expect from this show that I love already, which is why I don't have a title for this one, really. It was such a good payoff to watch the show from the beginning up until this point. And to have that cute little bridge with Goku in Otherworld, which is not canon, I know, but it was good. And every single one of these episodes, setups, payoffs, the whole thing, the whole formula, every single episode is self-contained. It's with an overarching story, and they build the world in little moments, even if it's just a tiny cutaway. It's not perfect.
Yeah.
It's pretty close. It's pretty fucking close.
So far surpassed my expectations for where I thought we would be.
By so much.
Yeah.
For me, like, I know that I don't want to speak for you, but I would propose to these episodes immediately. After just these 5, I would. Oh my God. So 200. 200 starts off with a new intro.
Oh my God. I didn't even notice until like the second episode. But yeah, for the first time in the entire show, we get a brand new intro with Gohan as a teenager. Like all the characters have aged up. And it's kind of great. Like it is such a different vibe. It's almost like a 90s sitcom style intro where every character does like a little funny thing. And then they basically turn to the camera and then it goes on to the next character. Like it's lighthearted and just enjoyable. Like it's just fun. I think Dragon Ball Z at this point has stopped taking itself seriously, which because of like power creep and different things, that's probably a good thing. But the original intro was very like, oh, these guys are going to save the world from who? These dudes. They're badass dudes. Here they come. Like it was kind of that. And this is just like, hey, this is a crazy, wacky family. Look at all their, this guy can lift a car. What's going on? Let's find out.
That's exactly the vibe of the show now. You have to take the lead because I love these episodes so much. I'm just going to talk forever about how much
weird.
I love it.
Yeah, everything. we could review just like
the vibe,
the deeper, the subtext, the vibe. Yeah, exactly. But we'll try not to. So the first episode starts with a bank robbery. We're in a bank. There's these dudes that come in, they rob, they take the money. Like it's perfect. As far as bank robberies go, they've got the people on the ground, the tellers give them the money and they can go. And as soon as they're able to leave scot-free with the money and never look back, they're like, oh, we got something for you too. Here. And they just shoot a bunch of bullets at the civilians, which is just absolutely insane.
Blow up the sign.
I don't know what the point of a bank robbery is if you end it like that, because you're just
showing off,
asking for it. Yeah,
you're just adding some fear. Like maybe you're a gang and you're like, you always remember the 7th Street fucker gang. The sandpaper sharks.
We're the 7th Street fuckers.
That should be the name of your clan. I
don't think that the auto detect
use
profanity
pH.
filter would. Oh, there you go. That solves everything.
Whatever. I played this game before. So they're running out of the bank and Gohan's there.
Yeah, he's running late for school. Throughout these whole 5 episodes, he's really dorky, which I really like quite a bit, actually,
so good.
Because he thinks he's cool, but he's super dorky.
But it makes sense because he's not from around here.
Yeah, well, and it's adorable.
World.
It's pretty nice to watch. It's entertaining. Anyway, he's running late for school, and he's like, crap. I said I wouldn't use my power, but I got to get to school, so turbo speed. And he says that out loud, and then he, runs like you would expect Goku's son to run. And then he runs into this botched bank heist. The police are shooting at the criminals. The criminals are shooting at the police. One of the police cars' license plates says poo on it. I thought that was funny. Gohan says like, oh man, I got to disguise myself so nobody recognizes me. He's wearing his school uniform, by the way. It's got a big like emblem with the school's logo on it. And he transforms into a Super Saiyan. He's like, at least, I'll have blonde hair.
Yeah, the Superman disguise.
So he intervenes in this shootout. He jumps onto a truck. The guys are like, hey, who's this moron trying to stop us? And they shoot at him. And Gohan is like the coolest badass person when he goes Super Saiyan here. He doesn't say anything. He just John Wicks it. And he catches all of the bullets that are being shot at him with one hand and then drops them and scares the criminals. almost to death.
Yes, and he has this face, the Goku serious face.
It's the Goku serious face, but it's his now.
He owns it. He owns that face. It's
really good.
So incredibly good.
So the criminals get away by driving a monster truck El Camino down the street.
That was so weird. Some weird hybrid vehicle.
Such a weird.
All the vehicles are this
weird.
whole world. It's just Toriyama. Yeah. You're a god. You're a genius, man.
It's great. And Gohan just raises a hand and doesn't blast or anything. He just wishes, and it like and it stops the car.
It cuts back to all the crowd around where the robbery happened, and it's a bunch of people in the city. We've always talked about how much we love the people in the interacting with that stuff, and that's just all these episodes is this.
Although, did you notice there's not an animal person to be seen in any of these episodes?
Oh, I didn't. No.
It's weird. I didn't find one. If somebody found some, let me know, because I'm
interesting.
I would be disappointed to let that piece of the world building go. But like all I saw were regular old humans. Like I thought it would have been fun if like people in Gohan's high school were cat person over there and a bear person. But there was just humans.
Where's all the fucking furries at?
Yeah.
None.
I don't know.
There's just nowhere. There's no anthropomorphized human animals. I guess it's like human animals. Maybe it was a one-time thing. It happened in Dragon Ball. They took the drug or something, and so it just happened to one generation.
It's weird. I think in Kakarot there's like a side quest or something like this, that video game. I think there's like a quest where you go and find a cure for it. And it's in between those two sagas, so by the time you get to Gohan stuff, it makes sense why they're not around anymore. I can't remember for sure, but I swear they tried to,
that's cool.
Spackle that little
I wonder. Yeah. So anyway, all the people are standing around marveling at what happened, and they're starting to call Gohan's persona the Golden Fighter. He was some kind of freaking superhuman, which, okay, doing a weird voice like that, every adult character in the show has a weird fucking voice.
I want to ask, like, did they just say, screw it, let's just have fun with this?
I think they might.
Because it sounds like all the voice actors are trying to top each other's ridiculousness.
Yeah.
Every accent you can imagine, very poorly done. And it just seems like they were having a freaking ball in the studio.
It's fantastic. One of the people that was standing by, the mayor, I don't know, whoever, the guy in charge guy, happens to come across another character named Videl, who is going to be a big part of the story up until they completely forget she exists. Videl shows up, and Videl is, how would you describe Videl? She's got a pink shirt and then like a wife beater over it, like a tank top over it, black shorts, green shoes. And
that's how I would describe
not
it.
Quite pigtails. They're like messy.
It's a little longer than pigtails.
Black hair.
Yeah, black hair.
She's always frowning. She's always like upset, like angry.
She's got a very intense energy.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That main person says to Videl, well, they must go to your high school. Maybe you know them because they were wearing the high school badge that you're wearing right now, Videl. They must go to your high school.
It's just not a very good disguise.
So then we cut to Gohan's first day of school.
It's so weird to hear the classic, like, bong, bong, bong.
Yes.
Bong in
holy shit.
Dragon Ball Z. It's wild. It's such a real modern thing.
The teacher's introduction is
so wild.
So fucking funny. It's so fucking funny. The teacher, all the students are all sitting there talking to each other, and the teacher says, good morning, scholars. Today, we're introducing a new student who actually knows how to read. Like, this teacher is shitting all over everyone else in the class because everyone's just talking. Apparently, Gohan got perfect scores on his exams.
Something like that, yeah.
Brainiac ass. Gohan goes and sits next to this fluff character whose name is Marissa. Areza.
It's got an E in it and a Z in it. And she's Videl's friend. They also have another friend named Sharper.
I just wrote mullet fuck douchebag every time he came up, because he comes up a couple of times. He's just a douchebag meathead. He's that guy in high school who tried way too hard to be way too cool and only worked out.
Well, and it's kind of a perfect analogy for this character because he does seem very fake. Like, his first words on seeing Gohan enter the classroom are, oh, he's probably on a TV spelling bee.
Yeah.
Which is not an insult.
Nah.
He tries way too hard to sound like a meathead. Like, he's an interesting character. Anyway,
all of the writing that they did, because I turned on the Japanese subtitles and we talked about,
we going to do it? Yeah.
We've been doing it for the movies. I'm glad that you did too. That's fucking cool.
I also did.
I didn't talk about it. We just both decided, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, there wasn't a huge difference, at least not that I saw.
No.
Like a couple things here and there, but nothing major.
Yeah, but the writing quality of these characters is so well realized that it could be easily translated to a sitcom, to a 90s sitcom.
Oh, God. The whole thing feels just like that. Yeah.
Not like a shitty, forgettable 90s sitcom. It's a actually pretty interesting and funny one where they have good moments.
Yes. And I'm noticing at this point how like soft spoken and polite he is.
Yeah.
Like in public, he's got a very different demeanor than his dad and a very different demeanor than he had as a kid, too. I don't know. Like he's just, it's fun to see our boy all grown up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And watching Gohan interact with all these other normal teenagers and knowing all the things that Gohan has gone through and knowing who Gohan is at heart makes me love his awkwardness and his politeness.
Yeah, it's very adorable.
That's another thing that all the characters call Gohan is cute. He's like super cute to everyone. Yep. He's just incredibly attractive.
But also all the characters say that he's not buff, which I don't understand.
They all call him a wimp and skinny and stuff.
Yeah, but he's clearly very swole.
Yeah, like without a shirt, Gohan is made of marble. It's absurd. So anyway, Marissa tells Gohan that Videl, this character who's going to be important, Marissa's not. Marissa just says words that are. And I'm going to call her Marissa, even though it's not.
It's not.
Videl is Hercule's daughter, which is a big deal. Marissa gives the skinny on the golden fighter. Gohan freaks out like, shit, they already made a legend out of this shit. I'm going to need a real ass disguise. And Videl this whole time is just intensely staring at Gohan. Marissa is all over Gohan's body and just, well, where'd you come from? Wow, you got such a cute smile. Can I lick your cheeks?
A couple things about the scene that I really liked lore wise is that Videl is thinking to herself, like, there's no way that Gohan could be the Golden Warrior because the Golden Warrior had blonde hair. But wait a second, the Cell game videos showed those mysterious people who also turned into gold haired people.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's a thing in the culture. That's just a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's this apocalyptic battle that took place and there's actually archival footage of it, which is just insanity to me.
And the world believes that, I don't think we talked about this, the world believes that Hercule is the one that defeated Cell.
The high school that Gohan is in is called Orange Star High School.
Yeah.
The city that Gohan is in, going to school, used to be called Orange Star City, right? But then was renamed to Satan City.
Yes.
After Hercule, quote unquote, saved the world.
And in the background, there's so many different, welcome to Satan First Bank. Well, this is Satan Ice Cream Shop. Like the whole city is paying homage to Mr. Satan's great feats. Yep. And so Videl is a fucking legend in this city just by being the daughter of Mr. Satan. Like she's the celebrity. She's a huge deal. Another thing that it comes up in this scene is Gohan is from the 439 area.
Yeah, Eastern Zone 439 is what the subtitles say.
Yeah,
it's like it's hundreds of miles away.
Yeah,
and they're like, how did you get to this school if you're that far away? But it's so weird.
Way in the past, they talked about another area and they had a letter in it. I think they just make shit up. I think
they probably do too.
Yeah. So they start doing school stuff. They're going over grammar exercises, and even the grammar exercises have Hercule in them.
Yeah,
like they're talking about him like a legend.
There's a sentence in the book that clearly says Mr. Satan is the greatest man in the world.
Mm-hmm. And
that's the sentence
that occurs. It's a nice little introduction to Gohan's out of place life, trying to fit in, and then we get a baseball scene.
Yeah, I like this scene.
I did too. There's also a little cut of Mr. Satan just running a gym now, who's standing there laughing, and there's just a bunch of dudes pumping iron. Mr. Satan,
he's like, you guys gotta get in better shape than this. Yeah, that's great.
So now they're playing baseball because it's high school, so it's PE time.
Which is weird. Is baseball popular in Japan?
It's either popular in Japan or Toriyama fucking loves baseball. It's one of the two.
Because this is like the second of multiple in the future references to baseball, and it's an American sport, right? Like
it is, but
pretty solidly.
I think Japan has its own baseball league, if I remember right, because I saw a YouTube compilation of insane plays in baseball, but it was all from the Japanese league, and they do some crazy fucking shit.
So they're playing baseball, and Gohan's kind of thinking to himself as he's standing out in right field, why should he hide his power? The Chi-Chi and Bulma said that he should hide it, try to blend in, try to, just be a regular teenager. But he's kind of wondering back and forth why he should do that. And meanwhile, the current batter hits the ball and it goes flying up like 30 feet above Gohan's head. And right as it's going to pass by him, he jumps into the air, 30 feet into the air, catches it. And as he's catching it, he's like, oh, man, third base is clear. If I throw it to third base, and that means that the runner is going to get out, and we're going to get a point for my team. That's great. So he chucks it all the way to third base. And miraculously, my MVP of this string of episodes is the guy that catches the ball thrown by the guy that killed Cell, because it hits the glove and it keeps spinning and it like burns a hole in the glove. But he catches it. The student that's playing, I guess the ref or whatever, is like, yep, that's an out. And so Gohan gets like a little win.
As he's floating in the air, though.
But he's also floating in the air.
Floating in the air, and everyone else is just staring because that's what you would do. Like, this is fucking insane to these people, to these high schoolers. And Gohan's just floating there, slowly coming down like, maybe I overdid it just a little bit. And I guess the coach comes and says, way to go, son. You must have jumped 25 feet straight into the air for that one.
The coach has such a weird voice.
He does. I noticed that.
His body. I don't know.
It's like they got like a guest animator from a different anime series entirely to create the coach character. He seems so out of place. So then it's Gohan's turn. Gohan's turn to hit
Gohan's
the ball.
Going to bat.
Such a good scene.
It's so good. So the what'd you call him? The dick?
The coach? Douchebag McFuck mullet fuck. Just, it's a combination of mullet, douche, fuck, and bag. Just create one.
So mullet bag is up to pitch. Before he throws the ball, as he's winding up to throw, he says, I'll make you duck like a sissy. Chucks it with all of his might at Gohan, and it hits him right in the face. And then as soon as it smacks Gohan, everybody's like, oh my God. Mullet bag's just like, why didn't you duck like a sissy?
His face bugs out and he explodes.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, what have I done?
And Gohan just turns to the coach. He's like, hey, I got hit with the ball. That means I get a walk, right? The coach is like, yeah, go ahead. He's like, yes. I progressed for my team while also not having to show my power, because he was afraid of what would happen if he tried to hit the ball. Yeah, which is fantastic.
And I think it cuts to Gohan walking home, and then Videl this whole time has been giving Gohan the looks, the serious eyes, the what the fuck is going on with this guy look. And the end of the episode is Gohan walking home, and Videl says he lives apparently however 500 miles away, which they say in English, which I'll get back to in a minute. Don't worry, there's a math equation involved. It'll be fun. Videl says he lives 500 miles away. Why is he walking home? I'm going to follow this. This guy's suspicious as shit. So Videl starts following him. Gohan realizes someone's following him, turns a corner. Videl runs to follow him, and then he's gone because he's on top of a huge building, like a 13-story building, just staring
just
down.
Like when he was a kid, he jumped up an incredible height.
And
then it does.
This is what George Lucas wanted to try and do with the prequels, but
he failed. Anyway, Gohan jumps on Nimbus, and he's like, oh man, if I'm going to keep fighting crime and going to school, then I'm going to need a disguise. Maybe I should go see Bulma. And then the episode ends.
Have we been talking for an hour and we've only got one episode? Almost an hour.
Yes.
I'm sorry. It's a combination of no sleep, and I am in love with this show right now.
Yeah, and it's a really good show.
I think Dragon Ball Z always starts off super strong, and it's only gotten better as time has gone on, where each season starts off really strong, to where this one is the strongest thing for me that the show has ever done. And I'm so fucking afraid.
I know of what the future holds.
So afraid of what's going to occur, because I know I have bits and pieces, little chunks, and I'm just holding on to my enjoyment of these episodes for dear life. But that's the first episode.
So episode number 2, and by number 2 I mean episode 201. The Japanese title is For Love and Justice, Enter the Great Saiyaman. The American title is I Am Saiyaman.
Dude, it might as well be episode 2. This really does feel like a whole entirely
It feels like a spin-off.
Yeah.
It was like the Tenchi series did Tenchi in Tokyo, and it just like was so different.
It should have been Dragon Ball Z up until the end of the last saga. This should have been something else. This should have been a
Dragon Ball
name.
Superhero.
It should, God, no. What the fuck are they thinking?
I don't know.
They're okay. Actually, I know what they're thinking because my episode title for this is the one where cringe, God damn it, Gohan. Why? So I know why they're calling it Superheroes, and we'll get to it.
This episode opens with Gohan visiting Bulma, and Bulma smokes.
Bulma's a smoker.
Bulma smokes a cigarette, just like her dad. It was weird.
I kind of liked it.
I did too.
It just humanized Bulma to me.
Yeah, but it's something we'd never seen before.
Gohan's asking Bulma to make a disguise so that he can continue to fight crime. Bulma's like, well, you could just try not fighting crime, but you're too much like your dad, so you're just going to keep fighting crime. This is the wrong tree for me to be barking up. I'll make you a costume. It'll be easy. I designed spaceships. No problem. I can make you the costume. Don't worry. I'm Bulma. I'm awesome in this series.
And she is like, every character is awesome. Like, I fully admit that this is a spin-off territory in part because no character, like Gohan has 80% of the screen time, like Gohan plus new characters.
Yes.
But the ones where we go back to the characters that we know and love are represented the best that they've been in
Ever.
a while.
Even Chi-Chi. It shows Chi-Chi a couple times.
Especially Chi-Chi.
It's astounding.
Yeah, Chi-Chi's scenes are like my favorite scenes in these episodes. They're awesome.
I know. The whole thing. Gohan, while at Bulma's house, which is, I guess, just the Capsule Corporation.
It's Capsule Corp, yeah.
Building
headquarters or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. Gohan asks, hey, I'm going to hang out with Trunks. Where's Trunks at? Bulma says he's training with Vegeta because Vegeta's dead set on making Trunks stronger than Gohan.
I love that he is like at the end of the Cell Saga, he is admits to himself that Goku is stronger than him. But then he's like, there's no way in hell that my son is not going to be stronger than your son. If I can't have this, then I'm going to have that.
Yeah, I will. Like, it's such a perfect dad thing to do. It's, oh my God.
My son will have the life that I always wanted.
My son is going to be, it's the equivalent of my dad will beat the shit out of your dad. My dad will beat your dad. But he can't do it that way anymore. My son's going to beat the fuck out of your son.
So Gohan goes to the gravity room in Capsule Corp and finds Kid Trunks. Kid Trunks is going to be a character from now on. He's around 7 years old. He's no longer a baby, and he's cleaning up after a workout routine with his dad. Vegeta pops out of a door, and he looks different to me. I can't put my finger on it, but he looks different.
The spaces in his face are less wide. I don't know what that means, but like he's sharper. Like his face is smaller. I don't know. It's drawn differently, where his face is more defined than before. And so I guess that equals age.
I think they were trying to age him up.
Yeah. Just a little
Vegeta
bit.
tells Gohan, like he just basically makes fun of Gohan. You're looking wimpy.
He says, you're looking dumb.
Dumb. That's it.
Just immediately, you're looking dumb.
Yeah. A true warrior should be ready even in times of peace.
And that's it. And it's perfect. That's all we get from Vegeta this whole time. And that's all we need. That's all we need. Don't overdo it. Don't over explain it. Don't over anything. Perfect. They spiced these episodes so well with the characters they had, and I just want to eat this sandwich forever. But then we, oh god.
So anyway, it cuts to outside of Capsule Corp. A couple hours later, it's sunset. Trunks and Bulma are standing next to Gohan as Gohan's preparing to leave. Bulma hands Gohan a watch,
a Mighty Morphin watch, communicator.
Mighty Morphin watch. He's like, push this red button and you'll transform. And he pushes the button. He gets a costume. And Trunks is like, man, Mom, I want one of those. And then Gohan adopts his like.
Let's talk about it. Let's do it. Let's do it now.
It's my favorite.
Are you serious?
Yes, it's amazing. For his character, it's so great.
I mean,
so he thinks to himself, internally, he's thinking, I'm disguising myself. I should disguise my voice. What should I sound like? I'm going to try to sound like my dad sounded like when he was talking down to all those nasty villains that were breaking the rules and trying to destroy Earth. I'm going to do my best impression of that, is what he's thinking. And so Bulma says, hey, it's a pretty good fit. And in that voice, at that moment, Gohan says, it's a super fit. And then Trunks immediately goes, never mind, Mom. I don't want one of those anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's the lamest voice ever.
It is. What is that? The Batman voice actor's name, who I'm forgetting.
It's a Adam West.
Adam West. It's Adam West to the power of Dragon Ball Z. That's what this voice is. And I love it because you're right. It is perfect for Gohan. It is pitch perfect for who Gohan wants to be, wearing this costume, saving the day, getting rid of the villains like his dad. And everyone around Gohan thinks this is the fucking lamest thing in the universe because it is.
It is. That's the best thing.
So Gohan decides the next day.
No, it's the same day.
Is it the same day? Oh, because he's coming home. That's right.
He's going home, but he's like, I should stop by Satan City and do something in this new costume so that I can throw people off the whole Golden Warrior thing.
Yeah.
He spots a car speeding down the road, which is like an understatement. It's maybe the most reckless driving I've ever seen in my life.
It's insane. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The number on the car is 69 because nice.
Gohan sees this car speeding down the road, ducking and weaving through traffic, and just stops right in front of it. The drivers of the car are like, oh God, we want to kill people, but we don't want to, hit people with our car or whatever. I don't know the logic there, but they're like, that we have to stop the car now.
Well, they're just out for a joyride. In their dialogue, they're just out for a joyride, having fun and breaking all the rules, but they're not trying to actively murder people. So do stop. But probably mostly because they're confused and they've never seen anything like this. And the way the car stops, oh my God, it's like a cartoon.
It is a cartoon, but I see what you're saying.
To your point, the show is no longer taking itself too seriously. Not that it ever was before, but at this point, it's the combination of seriousness and it's a hybrid that works for Dragon Ball.
I feel like it's more in on the joke now than it was before.
Yes. Yeah.
So Gohan, says in his hero voice, use your turn signals, follow the rules of the road, and always buckle your safety belts. And he's like introducing himself as the Great Saiyaman for the first time and just decides to do a little. He must have gotten these moves from the Ginyu Force. It's the only thing that I can think of because it's so reminiscent of that.
Well,
and it's like, where else would he have gotten that?
Let's talk about where the Saiyaman comes from, because the inspiration for a Great Saiyaman has to be from Super Sentai series, which is a series of, I think it's Japanese, just TV shows. Americans know what Super Sentai is because we call it the Power Rangers.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
I can see that.
And that's where all of these ideas come from. Because if you didn't know, we might have talked about this on this show. Power Rangers is just Japanese footage of a show that they then take that footage for all the fights and the monsters and stuff like that, and then dub over it, and then add more American high school drama stuff to the front and back of it. That's it.
Yeah.
They, in those shows, have crazy poses and do crazy things and say lines just like that. And they have insane costumes, just like Gohan does.
All right. That's fair.
So inspirationally, that's where all that comes from. This is why the Ginyu Force does that to begin with. But in universe, I think Gohan's only inspiration for these ridiculous poses must be the Ginyu Force.
I literally can't think of anywhere else.
I can't either.
Seen something like that.
Unless just in the culture of Dragon Ball Z world, it's also expected that there's, there would also be that Sentai stuff. That's what Gohan does the poses, and these crooks who are driving crazy recklessly rightfully laugh in his face. Because Gohan is so corny, taking himself so seriously in this moment, and the crooks laugh at him. Gohan gets pissed off. Took me a long time to come up with that, and stomps the ground and cracks the earth with his stomp. And their car.
That's kind of what I like about.
Hits the ground.
It falls into
the ground. Yeah,
the divot of the road. That's kind of what I like about how lame Gohan is in the Saiyaman getup, because he has the power to back it up. And so it's just this fun contrast of a silly costume, a silly name, a silly voice, but then like all the power in the world.
Yes. He's taking himself incredibly seriously as well. And no one else is. It's like this hairpin balance, this razor edge balance that they are nailing really well.
Anyway, Gohan calms down and lifts the car out of the ditch. And the criminals get in and they drive away. One says to the other, drive carefully. as the great Saiyaman just waves them on. And then finally, Gohan goes home. At home, we get a couple of these home scenes, and I really like every single one.
Every single one is so good.
We're introduced to Goten, who is Gohan's younger brother, who was born after Goku passed away. And it kind of explains this in a little bit. Goten is the son that Goku never got to meet. That's what they say.
Yes.
Which is kind of nice. But he's just a little kid. He's about a little younger than Trunks. It's him, Gohan, and Chi-Chi. Goten has been fishing. He's got a big fish behind him, just like Goku would have done. One of the first things that Goten says to his brother is, when I get big, I want to be as cool as you, Gohan, which is just perfect and illustrates their relationship beautifully. And then Chi-Chi, the next day, Chi-Chi is there too.
Oh my God.
She's the best that she's ever been.
Absolute best. She
just seems like a mom.
Yeah.
Like just a real mom that isn't, she's just not, like she's not
mean. Chi-Chi anymore.
She doesn't yell.
She's Chi-Chi, but she's human being Chi-Chi instead of joke, ridiculous, insane Chi-Chi.
Exactly.
Like she says,
she's not being characterized for laughs anymore.
Yeah, she says, look at you one day with those teenagers and you're already coming home late and wearing silly clothes.
Yep.
Just giving Gohan a little bit of shit, but she's not like pissed. She's not like, take that shit off right now. She's just being a mom. It's incredible. And
it's really good.
Eventually Gohan, I think it's the next day.
It is the next day.
When Gohan leaves, she says, I guess I could probably get used to the outfit. Like, she's just a human being now. It's so good. It's so good. So Gohan gets school next day and overhears some of the students talking about this new superhero. And Gohan's like, yes, off the trail. Boom. They don't know who I am. And the students say, yeah, he's called the Great Singing Man. And Gohan
Did you see the subtitles for that, Dame?
Oh, no. What was it?
The Japanese subtitles call him the Great Tire Man. I don't know why.
The Great Tire Man? Okay. Yeah. All right. I kind of like that a little bit better just because it's so off.
It's very good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gohan loses it a little bit. He's like, that's Saiyan Man. And Videl says, okay, how would you know that? And Gohan gets, I don't know, because I met him or I know somebody who met him. And then Videl gets a notification on her watch. Watch goes off. She's got a future watch. And apparently it's a call from the police captain. There's a bunch of hooligans that have taken a bus full of senior citizens hostage, which I don't know why that's a funny scenario to me, but it is.
It is funny, especially when you get to the bus. Anyway.
Right. Yes. So Marissa, plot dump Marissa. As the more we talk about Marissa, the more I realize she's actually somewhat important because she's the one that explains the world to Gohan.
Yeah.
She's that link to what's going on. Marissa explains Videl has been training her entire life. She just gets called away sometimes in the middle of class to go help the cops like a Power Ranger would. She
is a state certified Hercule's daughter martial artist that is a teenager that goes to high school and sometimes gets called in to fight crime.
Yes, which
it's insane.
It's an insane premise, but given that the world truly believes Hercule beat this actual godlike tier power monster, and this is the daughter of that person, the word, like
everything that we've seen in Dragon Ball Z, it's not that ridiculous. Yeah. But again, like it's one of those things where it just seems like an establishment of a character in a spin-off show of Dragon Ball Z.
Yes. This is a different show now. And I love this show. I love Dragon Ball Z too, but this one, it's just, it hits different. It's got more feel than anything else. More vibe, more something, more heart. But anyway, Videl gets in a helicopter, fucks off, which by the way, it's not really a helicopter. It's like
they call it a couple different things throughout the episodes. It's like a jet copter. I thought it was like a capsule corp vehicle, but it's never shown to have that branding on it. It's like it's just like a hovercraft, that flies
sort of like those grasshopper helicopters.
Like like that without the blades and with the rocket on the back.
With jets. Yeah, it's really cool. I love the design of it. It looks like a Star Fox 64 thing.
There you go.
It does.
Videl takes off and Gohan's like, wait, Videl's just going to go out there and fight crime? That's crazy. She might get hurt, which is a double standard that I find hilarious. What are we calling her? Marissa says, no worries. She's as strong as her father. And Gohan has this awesome flashback.
Oh my God.
To Hercule getting punched by Cell. And it was this directly from the anime? Because as Hercule gets punched, he goes into the sky, and as he becomes a Team Rocket blasting off again dot in the sky, there's a little drawn arrow that points him out and follows him down to the horizon.
No.
And I don't like that comedic level of animation. I don't think was in the original.
It wasn't. This is new. That was addition for whatever we're calling this new series of Dragon Ball.
Yeah, it's great, man. So he's like, I got to go to the bathroom, and he runs out of class. Gohan gets a superhero theme. There is a Saiyaman theme that is very superhero-ish, and perfect. I like it a lot. It's very fun.
Absolutely perfect.
So meanwhile, we cut to the tourist bus that's been taken over by been taken over by hijackers. They have a bunch of hostages. The police are like surrounding the bus, and they're like, hey, we given you all your money. Now give us something. Hijackers are like, okay, take this. And they just start blasting.
Mm-hmm. Apparently that's how you say thank you in this world, because that's happened twice in a row.
Yeah. You get exactly what you want, all the money you could imagine, and then you just shoot the police officers. So anyway, hijackers steal the bus, get out of the police barricade, and start going down the road. As the police officers aim their guns to shoot at the back of the bus, all of the tourists, the hostages, are waving out the back window and smiling. And I was like, what the hell is going on? Mm-hmm. They're excited. It goes into the bus, and we get to hear all of these tourists with their food and their cameras and all this stuff. They're like, oh, this is so much more exciting than a regular tour. Mm-hmm. I can't wait to make a scrapbook out of this. That's going to be great. Yeah. Hey, you two hijackers at the front, will you pose for a picture? And this lady takes a picture. And as she's taking a picture, the hijackers turn and make, symbols like smile.
Yeah, they pose. They pose for
the picture. And that joke got me pretty good. Yeah. That was funny. I wasn't expecting that at all. Videl follows the bus. She's flying, remember, in the helicopter jet thing. People on the bus recognize her, even though they're tourists. Hey, it's Videl.
Hey, it's Videl. She's famous.
Made a name for herself. Yeah, exactly. Videl lands on the roof, and the hijacker stupidly shoots the roof of the bus with his gun, which is not smart if you ever hijack a bus.
Hang on. Go ahead and give us what you should do if you hijack a bus. I want to hear. Just for our listeners out there, what should you do?
Have you ever seen the movie Speed?
No. I always confuse the movie Heat with the movie Speed. I know what the movie Speed is about.
Oh, well, Heat's a good movie as well, but it doesn't involve a runaway bus.
No.
I guess in Speed, it's a little different, but you shouldn't shoot anything when you're in the bus because bullets bounce, and you're in your own getaway truck. It would be like being in a boat and making a hole in the bottom of the boat. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
You don't want to...
You're damaging the vehicle that you're using to leave.
Yeah.
You're hurting your own escape craft. Yeah. I think if the diameter of the bullet depends on the caliber you're using.
Depends on what you're shooting. There might be some material on the roof that it'll just rip right through, but you're on a bus driving at like 80 miles an hour. You're not going to aim that gun with any kind of accuracy.
That is also true.
Let alone if you're just trying to hit something on the roof and just like going wild with it.
Yeah. So, how expensive is this bus also? If it's just a regular tour bus, they probably didn't spend a lot of money on it. It doesn't
seem like a regular because they have trays and food and stuff. I think it's like a lay bus.
It's true.
You ever ride in one of those?
And a lot of the time
like
they kind of cheap out with the roofs on those things. So it may not even be metal. It may just be some sort of plasticky material. It's probably metal so people can get out on the top of the bus and like look out and stuff.
That's true.
But even that metal is very thin. It's thin metal.
It's just a dangerous thing all around.
It's true. So when you hijack a bus, you have to take all of these things into consideration before you decide whether or not you want to fire at the daughter of the guy that saved the world on the roof of your bus.
Honestly, my advice would be to use blanks because if you've got an automatic weapon, people aren't really going to mess with you. And then if you do have to fire it in close quarters, at least you're not going to do too much damage.
And if you have two cronies, have one crony carry a crowbar. You need a melee weapon.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
It's important. Yeah. Usually the beefcake crony. Not the weird sidekick crony, but the beefcake crony.
The weasel one?
Yeah, in the scenario, the one with the chicken hat. What the fuck was that? So in the scenario, there's lead crook, there's beef one who was driving the bus, and then there's weird crony tiny one. I think lead guy fucked up by making big beefcake drive the bus. Beefcake needs to be guarding lead crony, who probably should be driving the bus, or have sidekick crony drive the bus.
The one with the chicken hat.
This entire hijacking scenario has been mismanaged from the fucking beginning.
Well, and they had their money. Again,
it's true.
They had their money. They just had to let a couple of the old people off the bus, and then they could have driven away without incident, I think.
Right. So what was the plan at that point? You're taking all of these old people. Maybe you just want to give them a good time. Maybe at that point, they're like, yeah.
They are having a really good time.
You know, they're going to give them your money's worth, I guess.
Yeah.
So
anyway, Videl dodges all the bullets being fired at the roof and does like a backflip into the window,
which was really
on the
cool.
side of the bus, which was really freaking cool, and proceeds to beat up all the hijackers. The woman with the camera takes another picture and says, I'm going to have the best scrapbook ever.
She's
An
right.
errant punch from Videl hits the bus driver. The bus driver instantly goes unconscious. Videl proceeds to save the bus without noticing that there is no driver.
Mm-hmm.
Turns around to pose for another picture with the woman holding the camera, and the bus goes off a cliff.
You know what I love?
Which her reaction when she poses for the picture?
I love that there was a joke of the cronies turning around for the camera, which is the setup to the payoff of Videl also turning around, which causes the bus to plummet off the cliff. Like they wrote this episode like they knew what they were doing.
Yeah,
like it's
great.
Brilliant. It is now brilliant. It has now become a fully fledged experience that it's great. So this thing is plummeting off the cliff, and Videl's face is just in her hands. And it's very interesting art throughout all of this, because you get multiple emotions and multiple meanings through the art that you're seeing in almost every scene that occurs. In this one, Videl has her face in her hands, and you get both the sense that she's hiding from the impact and that she knows she fucked up and she's about to kill herself and all these people.
That's what I like.
Both those things.
What's the word? As competent as Videl is, and she's shown to be very competent.
Yeah.
Probably the most competent female character ever on Dragon Ball Z, or at least fully three-dimensional character on Dragon Ball Z. And I'm probably even including Bulma. As much as I like Bulma, Videl feels more fleshed out in these 5 episodes. And maybe it's just because she hasn't had a chance to get screwed up yet, but like her introduction is rock solid.
It is.
You get the appearance that she puts out into the world, and then you get little tiny hints of the person that she actually is. And this is one of those moments, that reaction when the bus is hurtling toward the ground, for sure. Anyway, surprise, Saiyaman saves everybody on the bus by just stopping it from falling. The tourists are led off the bus because they were saved. And this is a little later, fast forward. Some of the comments from the tourists are so great. One of the old ladies says, I haven't screamed like that in years. And another one was, that was a very good tour. Gohan does his dance thing and says, you've been saved today by the great Saiyaman.
Everyone reacts appropriately.
Videl's exact thoughts are, what a weirdo.
Yeah. In Japanese, that is so uncool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
And as Gohan flies off, Videl again eyes this great Saiyaman suspiciously. I really like the way that they're establishing these two characters. The relationship between these two characters is really good.
I love it.
It's just there's intrigue on both sides, right? Like Gohan's finding out that she's Hercule's daughter and is like a superhero and whatever, and then Videl's like, ooh, new kid from way down there. And it's not just like, it could have so easily been, what is this next episode? Like it could have so easily been that throughout the entire arc, and I would have mocked it, but it's also cliche enough to probably be fine. But they actually took a shot at establishing a new character in Videl and somebody to play off of Gohan, and like it works. It's amazing for Dragon Ball Z to introduce a new character, a new female character this late into the game, and to not screw it up. I'm totally impressed.
I'm floored. Videl is, and I remember always was, one of my favorite characters. I didn't really know why when I was younger. I just liked the character of Videl. I know why now. And it's for all of those reasons that you just stated. Competent female character, more than competent, great, fleshed out, has perfect moments in the show that show both sides of who Videl is a really good fighter. Maybe on the level of Krillin at the beginning of this show, level fighter. Better than Yamcha for sure at the very beginning of this show.
Well, and she's not like
cocky.
Yeah,
I was going to say through.
She knows her skill level, and she's never like egotistical about it. Like, hey, I'm gonna floor you. I don't know. It's just the way she's presented is really good.
It's a perfect balance to who Hercule is, because she is Hercule's daughter and is absolutely nothing like Hercule is on the outside.
Yeah,
Oh my God. It's so weirdly well done that we're sitting here really analyzing the characters like deeply oh God. All right. Next episode. I'm serious.
No.
I could literally
give me like 2 minutes.
Oh, you gotta piss? More drink?
I got it. Both. Not in the same. It's time for a mid-roll shout out. Yes, this is the mid-roll shout out, the time of the episode where we take a moment to stop talking about the episodes and start talking about you, our fans. If you're interested in becoming a patron, check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/EHDBZ.
Bam!
We've got a bunch of bonus content, commentary tracks, reviews of Dragon Ball movies, and all kinds of crap. It's great. Check it out. Oh my God.
Look at our bullshit. Woo!
Yeah, but all of that content and this podcast would not be possible without support from viewers like you, specifically the patrons in the mid-roll shout-out tier, which I will read to you right now because John just sent them to me in a little image.
Woo!
They are Spencer Feuerstein, Tyler Hyatt. How do you say it? Hyatt?
That's my guess. I'm not 100% certain, but I think it's Hyatt.
Okay, because Hyatt is a hotel chain, and it is spelled Hyatt.
Yeah.
And this is not that.
Tyler Hyatt!
Yeah,
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Also, Artex, Andrew. Should I be saying the last names now?
I
I'm
fucking
second-guessing
do.
myself.
I don't know.
Okay.
Let us know if you don't want to hear your last name. How about for the first time, we'll just not say last name. If we don't hear anything back from you, we're going to say your last name.
Okay, Dan and Richard.
You can say Dan's last name. I've said Dan's last name so many goddamn times. I was fucking up, too.
I know. That's why I was like, stop.
Yeah.
Like the bank robbers
Hammer
after
time.
Gohan stopped right in front of him.
Yeah. Well, if we're gonna thank our patrons the way that people thank each other in DBZ now, we should shoot at them.
Yeah, it's
not
true.
hit them. We just fire around them. It's a big old
No, we
thing.
just fire a gun a bunch.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Anyway,
Thank you so much.
thanks for your contributions. Now we're going to get back to the episode.
And we're going to go in with episode 202, baby. Moving on. I'm excited. That we're past 200. I don't know why. I just feel like we're
Because it's how many episodes are in Dragon Ball Z?
290.
Is it 290? Okay.
I think.
So like we are way over the hump.
Yeah.
We're cruising downhill at the end of this thing. It's weird.
It is, isn't it? It feels.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna get emotional at the end, man. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I think I
What a
probably end up.
journey.
I'm just too much of whatever, that kind of person. Just gonna get all choked up and shit. But we're not there yet. Maybe that's why I'm excited, because I don't have to get too emotional. Like,
Yeah. Now we just get excited and happy.
That's
The Is that a good name of the episode?
excited and happy. John and Spencer get excited.
John and Spencer
happy.
get excited and happy.
I mean, no,
The
but
movie.
it falls in line with how lame Saiyaman's lines are. So
It's true. The Japanese title for episode 203 is 202. The Japanese title for episode 20. Now I don't know.
202.
For this episode
wherever
is Gohan's frantic first date. The American title is Gohan's first date. It's one of those question mark exclamation point things in the Japanese.
So you apparently dive into Isaac voice when that happens, I guess.
Yeah. You go up and then really excited at the same time.
But my episode title is the one where I hope this show never has fighting again.
Yeah. You know what? If they did episodes like this and then combined it with an occasional tournament like the Otherworld tournament and like the rumored World tournament returning, which I think gets mentioned in this episode, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
But that's not what happens.
No. Well, we'll see.
Anyway, so we open this episode with it at night in Gohan's room. He's wearing the Saiyaman costume with Goten present. And in front of his little brother, he's trying to come up with like catchphrases and he's trying to develop his cadence, his hero voice more. Yeah. And he's like, I'm the great Saiyaman, doer of good. And he's like, he gets frustrated a little bit. He's like, man, I'm not as good at this as dad was. Like it just, when he did it, it just rolled off the tongue. It sounded great. Like I love that this is the payoff for the setup that is the lame hero voice for me. You could write it off as a corny joke and go on just being a nerd, but like, I think he's actually trying to emulate his dad and he just can't do it. And he wants to, and he kind of knows that it's not great, but he's trying to honor the memory of his dad. So that's why he gets frustrated when people
There's so many layers to the whole thing.
it makes a lot of sense. And this scene solidifies that, where he's like, man, Goten, I'm trying to sound like dad, but I just can't do it. And Goten's like, well, it sounds cool to me, Gohan.
Yeah, and Goten doesn't know what Goku sounded like at all. It's just like, there's so many little bits
really
and
sad.
pieces. There's so many bits and pieces.
But I love that these two brothers get along.
Yeah.
Chi-Chi comes in as they're talking and says, you guys got to go to bed. You got school. I can't remember if Gohan asked directly, but he's like, what do you think, Mom? And Chi-Chi's like, well, I think it could still use a little bit more work, but you got to go to bed.
Right. Yeah.
School in the morning.
Mm-hmm. She's encouraging, but also.
Yeah,
realistic.
exactly. She is not trying to stop Gohan from being a superhero. She is like a lot less harsh. She's just a good mom.
Yeah.
I really like Chi-Chi in these episodes.
I do too. Chi-Chi did a lot of things wrong, but this is prime Chi-Chi.
I like the idea, and I don't think you ever get like a focus on this. It's not a huge deal, but I like the idea that Goten got the best of Chi-Chi growing up.
Yes. Holy shit. Do you have younger siblings, Spencer?
Yeah. Yes.
You notice how they get the good part of your parents? You notice that?
For sure. Like, I've noticed that. Well, yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah. I fucking noticed too. Because
I don't want to name any specific examples, but yeah.
I was the oldest. And my mom has a saying, which is the first said this before. The first pancake always comes out a little burnt. And she said that to me.
You're the first pancake.
I was the first pancake. And it's because you pay too much attention to it, or not enough, or you overdo it, or you whatever. That shines through in this show. It's so weird how real the whole thing is. So Gohan, the next day, Gohan, of course, wakes up late for school because he was up too late doing this, just like Chi-Chi said. And Chi-Chi's like, you got 10 minutes to get to school. Here is where my algorithm comes in, because they said he lived about 500 miles away. He has 10 minutes to get to school, and he gets there just a little bit late. So he flies 500 miles in 10 minutes.
I mean, if you're giving him a little, maybe make it 15.
Okay, let's give him 15. So 500 miles, which means he's going 33 miles per minute. So how many miles is that per hour? 2,000. Gohan flies at 2,000 miles per hour.
He's going Mach 2.5.
Mach 2.5. He is just 500 miles, just under 500 miles per hour slower than the SR-71 Blackbird. He's faster than an F-22.
How fast do you have to be to break the sound barrier? Is that what? Is that the
Mach
one in Mach 1?
That's Mach 1.
Okay.
It's 770 miles per hour is the sound barrier.
Okay. So he does break the sound barrier on the way to school.
Yeah,
cool.
he does. So glad we got that figured out. It's weird getting real math for DBZ. And I know that it's just an American line, so it's not necessarily true, but I believe it. I believe that.
But still, I mean, like, even if you go to like, 300 or even all the way down to 200 and do the math, it's still in supersonic speeds, which is crazy.
Speeds. Yeah. And it's, for some reason, that matters more, because at this point, I know power scaling doesn't fucking exist, but they've spent so much time grounding everything in reality. I kind of feel like it's a reset of everything. And I'm relearning what everybody's capabilities are, especially because it's been 7 years. So I'm trying to understand and gauge where people are at in terms of their power right now.
That's actually a really good question. How old is Gohan?
I think Gohan, let's say Gohan was 12 when the Cell games happened.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I also thought that he was starting high school.
Right.
In this arc.
So let's give Gohan the benefit of the doubt and say he was 10 when the Cell games happened.
Crazy young. I feel like he was older than 10, but sure, for benefit of the doubt.
Benefit of the doubt, that means he's 17 now. That would make sense to starting high school, but I started high school.
Yeah.
I don't know how Japanese high school ages.
No, I don't either.
work.
That's actually another good question, because I started high school in 10th grade. Yes, in 10th grade. So I was like 15.
Oh, I started it in 9th grade. So I was 14 when I started it.
It depends on where you are in the country too. Yeah.
Yeah. So
certain schools do it certain ways.
Same thing in Japan. High school, 15 to 18. Okay. So I mean, I like to think that he didn't necessarily start at the beginning.
Obviously he didn't, because it's not the first day of school in the first episode. You're right. He comes late, whatever that means. And he had to test in, so maybe it is like, a year or two later.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think he's between 17 and 19. We know that for sure, at least.
Okay.
That's what we got for Gohan. So Gohan gets to school because he's late. and is in a rush, and he's in the Saiyaman costume so that nobody knows he's just flying. He has to fly to school, so he's trying to cover his tracks. Lands atop a building, depowers, and when I say depowers, I mean de-Saiyaman robes, puts it back on the watch, however that happens, and starts running into the school building. He's on the roof. There's another girl on the roof who sees Gohan change. Or that's what Gohan thinks. Gohan thinks that she saw him change. This girl is Marin done correctly. Everything about this girl is Marin, but done properly.
That's a really good analogy.
With a voice actress that makes it work. I didn't consider it until this episode. Part of what made Marin unbearable was the voice acting of that character. It's intentionally made to be annoying, but I think there's a way you can do annoying and still get the idea of annoying across without actually making it annoying to the audience. Marin didn't do that. It was just annoying. This character exists in this singular episode of the show. She's just redhead with really nice purple eyes.
Her character design is weird for a person that probably will never exist.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, but it's really well done. They have a quick little conversation. Gohan's like, fuck, she knows. She fucking knows. And she just peeks her head and watches Gohan run down the stairs, probably staring at his ass because she blushes and thinks that he's cute. Everybody thinks Gohan is cute, except douchebag McMullet hair, who gives Gohan shit for being late. And then the other redhead girl comes in a little late too, and is just staring at Gohan during the lessons. Gohan is not paying attention to the teacher's lessons because Gohan's freaking out. Like, fuck, I should have woken up early. Goddamn, she knows. This whole thing. I'm going to need a new costume now.
My whole secret is out.
The whole thing. He looks over at the girl, and the girl's just staring at Gohan, just staring. And Gohan's like, God. But Gohan is not paying attention to the lessons, which the teacher gets really pissed off at, goes up to Gohan and says, okay, you're in trouble now, mister. I'm going to make you hold buckets of water. As punishment, corporal punishment, bitch, hold these buckets of water.
Yeah, I don't paddle my students. I don't do this. I don't do that. But you get to hold buckets of water for 15 minutes. So you're going to wish that I did all those other things.
Yeah, makes Gohan hold buckets of water and says, you feel the burn, little man? Which is great because Gohan, it's nothing.
It's nothing
to him. And sends Gohan out into the hall. Teacher resumes his lesson, calls a question on other girl who is doodling on a pad.
Her name's Angela, by the way.
She's doodling and just draws a picture of Gohan, just like a cute little picture of Gohan. And I don't even need to talk about it anymore. Showing, not telling, because the show it just does that now. It just does that all the time now. It's learning. It's self-aware. It's growing. It's becoming a problem now. So girl gets in trouble also because she ain't paying the lessons. She's not paying attention. And the teacher makes her cry.
And I feel like some of this is on purpose because what does she say? I feel like the teacher says something like, well, just don't do it again. She's like, no, I got to be punished.
No. I need to be punished. Yeah, that's what she says.
Oh, well, not she.
She does.
Weird.
She does.
I know she does. I know. So the teacher's like, okay, well, then go out in the hall with Gohan then. She's like, okay. And then she instantly gets up and
perks up and leaves. And she bounces through emotions as fast as Chi-Chi used to.
She's really crazy and I don't like her. She makes me uncomfortable.
We'll get to why. Like, there are some reasons as to why she is like this. Like, good Lord. So she gets out in the hallway and gets right up in Gohan's face. Like, oh, you're so cute. And Gohan is Gohan. Has no idea how to handle this. Doesn't even get flustered. It doesn't touch him. He's not part of this world. He doesn't know what to do. So he's just holding these buckets. He's like, cool. Angela eventually gets to the asking. And when I say eventually, I mean immediately asks, so are you steady with anybody? Are you, seeing anybody? I was like, no. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? She's like, oh, you want to go out on a date? Because if you don't, I'm going to tell everybody your secret. Go on. So, this is blackmail. She's like, yeah, I know, but we're going to go on a date. So shut up.
And I love that Gohan, in response to this, goes to scratch his head. Yeah. And he doesn't even notice that he's holding the water buckets. So he lifts up the bucket with it and it just splashes all down him.
He doesn't care
which is great.
Oh my God. I love this show right now. So
it's really great.
It's a forced date. That is going to happen.
It's a forced date. And he flies home that night
to talk to mom about it.
One of my favorite, but also cringy scenes of the show. Yeah, he goes to talk to his mom about it. Yeah,
this has
it's weird.
a flavor to it. This one has a weird flavor to it, and I didn't expect the show to really take its maturity as seriously as it is right now, because it's a teenager in high school situation, and they talk about sex. Like they don't directly talk about it, but they talk about around it. You introduce the scene, and I'll say the line, okay? Because we both know what we're about to do here.
Yeah,
and it just has to happen.
It starts out, and honestly, like whatever fault of the script, this scene is one of my favorites because it's one of the very few moments where Chi-Chi and Gohan get to bond.
Yeah.
As like a mother and son kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's no yelling or anything like that. Like Gohan says like, hey, I have to go out on a date. And
yeah, like it's a problem. Like it's just a thing.
Yeah,
like a chore.
It's just a thing. Mm-hmm. And Chi-Chi's like, no, you're not going out on a date. And Gohan's like, no, I have to go out on this date.
Mm-hmm. This girl's making me.
And she's like, this reminds me of when I forced your dad out on our first date.
Mm-hmm.
And Gohan's like, wait, what? And she's like, yeah, I remember our first date really well. And then you get this little flashback to Chi-Chi and Goku.
Yes.
Young Goku, voiced by Kid Gohan's voice actor from DBZ, the last saga. Circa Dragon Ball.
Yeah, whatever age that is.
So Goku is a very young kid. Chi-Chi is also a very young kid.
9, 10.
Chi-Chi is wearing her problematic 10-year-old outfit.
Problematic.
That canonically, she did wear in Dragon Ball. So whatever. But it's problematic.
Whatever. To see the child pageantry episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia for more information.
It's exactly what it reminded me of is all the child pageantry stuff and like how much I really like. I can't even tell you how much I hate it. It just bothers me on like a fundamental instinctual level.
It's an American tradition, but it's not a proud one.
So you get to see Chi-Chi and Goku as kids, which, you know, you don't have to watch it. Just trust us. It sounds nice. Just keep,
it would picture
be that.
It would be if not for the line that happens. So it's Goku who says, all right, so we're on a date. I don't know why I gave him Krillin's voice. That was weird. Okay, so we're on a date. What are we supposed to do? And Chi-Chi says, she's just leaning up against a tree, just like, oh, well, you're the boy. And the boy is supposed to think of the most pleasurable thing to do and then coax the girl into doing it with him, which is the worst line. It is the worst line, but also it fits. It fits the show. It fits the scene. It fits what's happening. It's not comfortable, but it fits.
It's a very, exactly. And it's an uncomfortable setup to an actually funny joke, which is Goku hears that sentence and thinks most pleasurable thing. Okay. And he tries to punch Chi-Chi in the face. Chi-Chi moves and he punches the tree and then they start to fight.
Yes.
Because fighting is the thing that Goku likes the most
pleasurable
and
thing.
That part, the punchline to the setup is perfect.
It is.
And kind of beautiful in a way because we flash back to Gohan and Chi-Chi in the present day. And she's like, that was a really good first date. It's a cute story. And, you know, you just see Chi-Chi and Goku fighting. That's why Goku fell for Chi-Chi. That's who Chi-Chi kind of used to be, was more of a fighter. And she looks on those old days with a fondness. Like, if you don't go into any detail, that's a nice little scene. Especially to impart onto Gohan.
If you don't talk about it the way that we did, it's great.
Yeah. I understand what they were going for, and I am disappointed by the script and a couple other things, but like on the whole, I saw it for what it could have been and I enjoyed it.
I think if they had changed it to where it was just Goku hanging out and Chi-Chi hanging out in the flashback, and then Chi-Chi, adult Chi-Chi, had a voiceover. It was like, we didn't know what to do. And it just like kind of explained the situation. And Goku thought the most pleasurable thing that then it would have been smoother.
It would have softened the blow a little bit for sure.
And I get the weird feeling they might have cut that out when they premiered the show in English on Cartoon Network. Like they probably didn't.
They probably did.
They probably just didn't have that part. Gohan goes home and then he goes to bed, and he doesn't talk to mom at all. But it's a really good scene. It's a flavor, and it's kind of a little bit in the So
it's bitter,
but also
for sure.
It kind of explains why Chi-Chi yells at Goku all the time to me, because Goku loves fighting and screaming is just verbal fighting. Goku probably enjoys when Chi-Chi's screaming at him. Because on some level, it means that she loves him to him. It's weird. There's layers. There's so many layers. It's just a lot of layers.
Their relationship has always been very interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Gohan's like, I've never been on a date before. I don't know what to do. And then it cuts to him on the date, and he's like, I've never been on a date before. I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do. And
he's wearing this awesome yellow suit.
Yes, he's dressed up for the date, and Angela is as well, and says, "Why don't we go to a movie?" They do that. They're watching this movie. And it's this tear-jerking, emotional scene. And the camera starts on Angela's reaction. And Angela's tearing up. And then the camera slowly pans to the right to Gohan, who is falling a fuck sleep. And it's so well played. It's incredibly well played. Angela breaks out in tears. You don't even want to spend time with me at this movie. Ugh. Leaves. Gohan starts walking away. No, wait, Angela. And in the background, the movie is playing out the movie's version of the same scene that is occurring between Gohan. In the movie, it's the guy on a beach being like, no, Susie, I love you, and let me tell you. And then it's Gohan in the theater saying, no, wait, Angela, hang on. I'm not trying to be a dick. I love it. That's oh my God.
I also love it when voice actors get to ham it up because it's a movie within a show. And so it's like an extra layer removed from reality so they can really play it up. It's great.
Oh yeah. They had so much fun with this fucking episode. So they get outside and Angela's upset and Gohan's like, look, I just hate these movies. And Angela goes from very upset to instantly perky when she says, let's go get some coffee.
The more that I understand the Marin analogy, the more I'm okay with this. But it's so uncomfortable. But it's supposed to be.
Exactly. She's not a stable individual. And which is evident by how she orders her coffee. Because she orders coffee with 10 teaspoons of sugar. It's 14 in Japanese.
And I just love it so much.
Yeah.
The shot of the coffee with all of that sugar in it looks exactly like you would think a cup of coffee with that much sugar would look like. They did a really good job showing the pile of sugar underneath the liquid. Yeah. It's just such a short little thing, but I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, they do that a lot with the little shots. The art is now solid, high quality all the time. All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Every single goddamn sugar.
Gohan's like, wow, that's a lot of sugar. And Angela's like, yeah, I have a real problem with mosquitoes.
That's right. Oh my God, these quick little lines that they throw out. It
was a very good joke.
Great.
So then she's like, hey, we should go to the top of Satan Tower. That'd be fun. Mm-hmm. So they decide to do that. But before they come across a huge building on fire.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, crap, that building's on fire. So Gohan runs off to help. It's like this giant skyscraper office building kind of thing. And the upper half is on fire. Yep. This is when I noticed that there's no animal people in the show anymore. But anyway,
okay.
So as Gohan's looking up, Videl arrives in her copter above, except I don't know if it's the or a because it's being flown by a dude named Ed.
It is the copter, but Ed is flying at this time.
Yeah. And so Videl's like leaning out the side being like, oh, we can land there. We can do this. This is how we help. Eventually they find a water tank on the roof that they might be able to use to put out the fire.
Yeah.
Potentially.
This 30 seconds of this part of this episode is so strange because it becomes a different show within the show.
Yeah.
It becomes a CSI like weird montage.
Yeah, exactly. Like
scanning
the 24, like we got to save the building. It's so weird, dude.
And it's before any of those shows. I mean, certainly other shows before DBZ have done it, and that's what it's emulating right here. But it's so well done, and it just fits, and it just flows perfectly. It struck me as just another level, just another layer, just another fucking. Oh, so good. So they're analyzing the structural integrity of this building, and they discover the water tank, which I have a minor problem with this, which is they say that once they break this water tank, there are 1,000 gallons of water in it.
Yeah,
which is going to float into the building and just kind of go down all the floors and wipe out the fires.
And just put out the fire.
As if there's just a huge hole in the center of the building and then a slope down that hole, which then brings it. It's like those marble situations where you roll a marble down the slidey thing. And that's what the water is going to do, supposedly, which is not.
It's funny because in real life, it would just be it might happen, but it's a staircase that's off to the right side of the building, right? And it would go down But it would only go down the
stairs.
staircase, so it would only go down the far right side of the building, not the part that's on fire.
Would just fuck people up from being able to get down the fucking stairs. Like,
anyway, whatever. It's gonna work because this is Dragon Ball Z. So that's the thing. They got to get the water tank open,
yes,
so that the water can disperse throughout building, put out the fire. This is Vidal's scene.
It is.
She jumps out of the helicopter onto a burning building. There's civilians up there by the helipad because that's as high as they could go, get away from the fire. She goes over to the water tank. She can't open the valve. She can't like move it. She can't do anything. She's like, oh crap, what am I going to do? The fire breaks part of the building and shifts the floor that she's standing on so that the water tank starts to fall on top of her. It's going to fall on top of her. Of course, the Great Saiyaman shows up just in time and stops the water tank from falling. Vidal's like, that's how we put out the fire, but the frickin' valve won't work. And Gohan's like, okay. And he punches the metal tank and just, that's it. Like it works. He just punches a hole in it and the water gets down through the building, puts the fire out, and they're all safe. Everybody's safe. The next scene is Vidal giving the report to the police, which I thought was a nice little touch. And she's talking about everything that happened. She sees Gohan sans costume run by, and she's like, hey, what are you doing here? Yeah, in the yellow suit. He's like, oh, I was just on a date and we just, happened to pass by. But like the whole conversation is, I know something about you.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole subtext.
And Vidal gets
every time they talk.
Every time. And Vidal gets right in Gohan's face. Right in Gohan's face. Is like, you are hiding something, aren't you? And that's the moment when Angela walks up and sees Vidal in Gohan's face. And Angela's like, I asked if you were seeing anybody, and you're seeing Vidal. Oh, yeah? Well, Vidal, you want to know a secret about Gohan? And Gohan starts freaking out. And this scene was
my God,
so
funny. It was funny, probably so funny because it was so bizarre.
Yes.
Because it's these two girls standing next to each other, face to face, left to right. Gohan's in the center. And every time that Angela's about to reveal the secret, Gohan just yells. He's just like, ah!
He doesn't know what else to do.
Like there's no subtitle. There's no dub thing. Like this is just what happened in the episode. And he does it like 2 or 3 times. It's so funny.
It's incredible.
Because it's so random. Like he's just a teenager who does it. Like he can't stop it. And that's awkward teenage emotions in a nutshell.
Perfect. It's so incredibly good. But here's the secret that Angela tells Vidal. I know Gohan wears a cute teddy bear on his underwear and he doesn't want anyone to know.
Did this skeeve you out a little bit? It weirded me out just a tad.
I feel like this falls in line with most like typical high school animes. I've never watched one, but from what I've heard,
not wrong.
This is pretty typical. So Angela's walking by the boys' locker room when Gohan was changing and peeked in because of course she did. Everything we know about Angela up to this point says that she would do that. So she peeks in and sees Gohan's got a cute little teddy bear on his underwear, on his boxers.
He just wears teddy bear briefs.
Yeah.
And it's whatever, dude. You do you. I don't know if it was the subtitles or the English dub. Somewhere in there is the explanation of like, oh, all my other, it was laundry day. I didn't have any other choice. I had to wear.
My mom bought these for me.
Yeah, I heard that somewhere buried in the dialogue. I thought it was good.
But Gohan has to pivot 180 because he really thought this was it for on the Saiyaman thing. Like the gig is up and I'm not true.
Exactly.
But then this comes out. He's like, yeah, that's my secret. Like he has to really flow with it. And
he doesn't care at all.
Yeah. He's got to pretend now that it's like, oh, it's my mom's, and it's played really well. Vidal's still suspicious, but it's like, that's the secret. Really? That's kind of embarrassing. It's a little embarrassing, Gohan, but I'm still watching you. And like right in his face. Vidal's an intense character. You're right.
She is. So it's revealed at the very end that Angela on the roof when she quote unquote saw the Great Saiyaman change back into Gohan, she wasn't wearing her contacts. Which is just wild. Whatever. She didn't see. She didn't know the secret.
And then the episode ends with Gohan going back, like feeling bad about the whole Angela thing because Angela then leaves crying.
Yeah.
He's like, man, I really didn't mean to hurt her. I bet I destroyed her entire world. And he walks into the class and Angela's already hitting on some other dude. Like, wow, you got such big muscles. The last guy that I was with was so scrawny. And it's like,
I can't. It's just perfect. It's so perfect. This show has become a high school drama. Maybe if it stayed this way for the next 100 episodes, I would care. But this is great.
It is.
It's just so much fun.
And it's not bad.
It's a breath of fresh air.
That's the thing.
It's not bad. It's well done.
They could have been really janky and awkwardly played and like things could have not made sense and characters could have been shittily written. None of those things happen. It is really, really well done. I was serious when I said you could take the script for this and make an actual sitcom series of episodes out of it. It would be very interesting. All of it works. The art, voice acting, the music. Holy shit. Like, I didn't even notice the music a lot of the time because they are hitting those little pinpoint cues so well. When somebody is confused and blinks, they play the little xylophone, blink, blink.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is coming together. It's so cohesive and well done. The writing, the setups and payoffs and little things that you barely notice. And they're paying homage to everything that happened in the beginning. And there's growth. I love it. I love it. And I'm sorry this is going to be the longest episode we've ever recorded, but I can't help but gush about this.
No, I mean, we're getting, it seems like when we're happy with episodes, they tend to go on longer. Because the Otherworld tournament it wasn't a long recording session, but edited down. Like we were on topic way more than we have been for a lot. So like it was a dense episode. Anyway, we're on episode 203.
Yeah.
The Japanese title is Gohan, Scramble, Save Videl. The American title is Rescue Videl.
My title for this episode is I Wish People Would Stop Asking for the Saiyaman's Name.
I mean, me too.
Yeah.
So this episode starts with Gohan flying to school. He's on time for once. Goten is behind him on the Nimbus Cloud, which he has inherited. Mm-hmm. He wants to come see Gohan's school, but Gohan doesn't let him. And Goten's like, oh, okay. And he goes back to his normal life. Gohan flies to the city, passes by, coincidentally, Videl in her jet copter. I thought they were going to do something like this way earlier, and I'm glad that they waited because it feels like it's been weeks since the first episode of this arc. And so it's time enough has passed that it makes sense that they would eventually stumble upon this coincidence of them, flying at the same time right next to each other. So Gohan's like, I'm early. I'm going to get breakfast. And then he sees Videl and he's like, oh, crap. I can't get breakfast now because she's going to follow me. And so she follows him. And they have this really cool hovercraft chase through the streets, flying in the Saiyaman disguise through the alleys and stuff. And Videl's just ramming her jet copter through traffic and stuff. Like it's really cool looking.
Excellent. This is where I became to appreciate her helicopter grasshopper vehicle thing.
It's a neat vehicle.
She flies it so well too. She's going through alleyways and bobbing, weaving through people.
She's so determined. She says, today's the day I unmask the goober. Gohan falls back onto his old tactics for how he stopped the bank robbers or the criminals at some point. Stops right in front of the vehicle. Videl, not wanting to slam right into the Great Saiyaman, swerves. And Gohan takes that opportunity to quickly fly away and to go hide. He lands at a park and he hides behind a tree. And he's like, oh, man, I'm so glad that I lost her. As a mother and her child are walking across the park in the background, and the little girl's just pointing at the Great Saiyaman outfit and is astonished by it, which I really loved. Just a fun little detail. And then Videl lands, finds the Saiyaman anyway, and she's like, hey, who the hell are you?
Yeah, that's pretty much the conversation that they have right here.
Gohan is reminded of his mother, which I agree with, and also I'm like, ugh.
With future knowledge a little.
Yeah, well, because that's the saying, right? All guys want to find women that are like their mothers.
Fucking Freud was a jackass. Like, I don't listen to shit that he says. Really, a lot of his ideas were pretty interesting. Well, that's a whole thing. I can't get off. I don't want to. Like, I've heard that before, but I don't think it's necessarily true. But it is in our minds. So when the show says that, it goes off, and it's kind of like,
exactly, yeah. Anyway, so they face off, and Great Saiyaman's like, I can't tell you who I am. Actually, he says, okay, I'll tell you who I am. I'm the Great Saiyaman.
Does the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, which is so great. Anyway, conversation ends with Gohan picking up Videl's jet copter and flying away with it.
So good.
And he puts it on top of a building. Videl's like, hey, you're still in my car. And he's like, I'm not stealing. I'm just relocating. Bye.
Oh, it's good. He's like good guy Captain Ginyu.
Yeah, he really is.
So Gohan gets to class. And then Videl, of course, shows up late. But the teacher's like, I know that the police is borrowing you to help fight crime. You're perfectly fine, Videl. Videl sits down and Mellet fucking asshole says, I bet it's no coincidence Gohan was late too. I bet y'all fucking Videl. He doesn't say that part.
But he implies it.
He definitely implies it because they were both late. They were. So anyway, we cut to TV, which is showing some footage of the Saiyaman. And we get to see it's Hercule sitting there watching the Saiyaman on TV. And it's only like 10 seconds, but Hercule goes,
it's such a good
break
shot.
that scrun and run in half like a saga toothpick. And that's it.
It's the one where he's sitting on the couch in a robe with a glass of wine in his hand, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's
It's
great.
so good. Like there's a lot of random cutaways that occur in the show. A lot in these episodes. They're great. Sometimes they're out of place. It's like, why did we need to cut to these old people that are commenting on Chi-Chi's parenting skills? But then this one, it's like,
yes, it blends in with the story. And even if you don't like it, it's short.
yeah,
They don't dwell on any of it very long. It's great.
So incredibly good. So now Gohan is just walking somewhere, I think. Is that what happens?
Yeah,
next?
he runs
He's
across another reckless driver being chased by the police.
Yes. Yeah.
The hooligans in the car actually like swerve into the police car, and the police car goes careening into a building and basically explodes, which is just crazy.
That's right. Yeah. The cops in this town are fucks. Like they don't exist.
Well, and the ones that do are just dying left and right. So the criminals, having successfully dispatched the police instead of riding off into the sunset, they stop the car, get out of the car, look at the explosion, and gloat for a while.
As you do.
Because they're good criminals.
As you do as a criminal.
Yeah. And Gohan approaches them just in his school uniform. He's not wearing the Great Saiyaman disguise. He's like, excuse me. I thought they were going to do a thing where he thought he was in his costume, but he wasn't. But they didn't actually do that. He starts fighting off these guys, or trying to at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's this fun moment where one of the criminals goes for him and Gohan dodges. And he says, you missed me. And then the camera zooms in. And I really thought he was going to say, now you got to kiss me. And then he'd start fighting him. But he didn't.
Oh, that would have been good. That would have been really good. And in line.
I know, right? Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Anyway, so Gohan fights him for just a second. Videl shows up. Gohan catches sight of Videl and instantly just like loses it. He's like, oh, what is she doing here? And then gets punched by one of the criminals.
Yes.
Videl
just takes them.
I think she dispatches the criminals more or less. Yeah, takes them out. And Videl's like, oh man, Gohan, that was terrible. I thought you could have been the Great Saiyaman, but not if that's how you fight. Like that was bad.
Mm-hmm.
You should be embarrassed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gohan's like, wow, I got not even a black eye, huh? I guess I got super lucky that I got decked and I'm fine. Yeah. And then after the conversation, he goes, holy shit, I might have to get punched in the face more often. Like, oh, Gohan.
Anyway, so those criminals, the ones that they weren't technically caught, they get away. Mm-hmm. They drive off after Videl shows up, and they're part of the Red Shark
Gang. Yeah.
And they say, hey, that was Videl back there. That's Hercule's daughter. I bet we could get a lot of money if we kidnapped her. We should figure out a way to do that. They go back to school for a second, and then Videl gets alerted by the police that the Red Shark Gang have kidnapped the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
This city is absolutely insane. Everything that has happened in the past few weeks has just been absolutely nuts. So now the mayor is kidnapped. The gang's boss, who kidnapped the mayor, wants to fight Hercule. That's the goal. So we kidnap the mayor. Hercule, come here, fight me. And the mayor goes free.
It's a weird setup, to be honest.
It's so weird. About it,
it's super weird, but I guess it makes sense in the world context because Mr. Satan, strongest man, the city named after Mr. Satan, the boss of the gang wants to be the new big world hero. And Mr. Satan is watching all this on TV and like wrapped up in a blanket, like, show don't tell. He's
in the attic. They pan up to his attic because the police is like, I've tried to call him. He's not answering. Pan up to his attic. He's bundled in a blanket watching it on this tiny little attic TV, which I know that they played this for laughs. And they say, or Hercule says, I don't want to fight them. They have guns. Like, I don't want to get shot.
They have all this armaments and firearms. Like, what the fuck? Because one of them has a rocket launcher and shoots a car.
Yes.
That happened.
But part of me feels like you can read more into it if you want to, because I feel like Hercule has been shown to have some semblance of skill against other humans. But at this point in the world's history, his ego was destroyed. His interior ego was destroyed when he walked up to Cell, confident that he could take him out, and then found out that he absolutely could not. And there was a whole echelon of people above him. And I think it kind of ruined him psychologically.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to, like, he's scared. Basically.
Yes, he is all front at this point. Like, he's still got something inside him. He did throw the android's head. He's still a decent individual on the inside, but it's completely outweighed by the front. And so I think he has a hard time even getting to that good part of him anymore, especially after 7 years of the world pushing him up as this giant incredible lord of all humanity, and then just to face the fact that he might have to prove it again, it's like impossible for him at this point.
Yeah,
I think you're right. Like this, the layers, the layers. It's so good. It's so fucking good. And it's like what, like 7 to 10 seconds of him in a fucking blanket.
It's not very long, but I do think they may have played it for the joke, but I like that the subtext is there if you want to read into it, because Hercule is shown to actually be a character that is capable. It's not all a front. He's not a con man. He's actually a martial artist. He just got showed up by, forces that were way bigger than he could ever be. And that's having an effect. Anyway, so Hercule's not coming to the rescue.
Nope.
Gohan wants to leave school. Videl has already been given permission because she's, certified superhero. Gohan's like, I got to go to the bathroom. And the teacher's like, no. You don't come back when you go to the bathroom. You're staying
not this time. And this teacher, by the way, has had to stick up her ass every time she shows up.
It's amazing how much character they've been able to give a person that just recites books. You know, 85% of the time, this character is just reading from books, and you can tell exactly what kind of teacher. I guess we've just all been in school long enough that we can identify the stereotypical kind of thing. But
if she was a construction worker, we'd be able to tell what her character is based off of. Like, they just wrote it really, really well to where it shines through. It's so much showing and not telling. It's so goddamn well created that I don't think this is reality anymore. Like, I feel like you sent me different episodes of a different show that happens to have people that I kind of recognize, but like it's fan made or something. Like it's breaking me down a little bit.
Yeah, and that's like what we were talking about at the beginning of this episode. It feels like it's a different show.
Yeah,
like it does not feel like Dragon Ball Z. It doesn't follow a lot of the conventions. It's the same characters, but like it's different. The whole vibe is different.
I absolutely adore it. I adore it with everything that is inside of me. And I think here's my prediction for this little saga thing, this AMN thing. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be phenomenal. And then we have just one huge chunk of 60 episodes called the Boo Saga. That
I'm excited to see what the point is where it downturns. If it's a slow decline or if it's a sudden snap of the fingers.
Because we both feel it, right?
See.
Like we get it. Like this is the up.
There's a storm coming, and we just don't know how quick it's going to be here.
Yeah. We know what's happening. It's going to happen real soon. So anyway, Gohan's not allowed to leave, and Gohan's getting antsy. Does not like that he's not allowed to leave because he can sense that Videl has arrived to fight the boss. Videl starts facing off against the boss, and he can sense Ki. And he senses the boss is stronger than Videl. He can feel the fight from that far away, which is such a unique use of being able to sense energy. It's like having the telepathy, but there's a reason behind it. It's like, they did it right. So Gohan's freaking out. He's not enjoying this at all. He's like twitching. He's tapping his foot. And I don't know why, but I really appreciated that because it's just a real detail that people do when they're nervous.
It's something that, for sure every high school student has done that before. Waiting for lunch or waiting for a test or nervous for whatever reason, presenting a project or whatever. You do that. Everybody has that nervous tick.
Where you bounce your leg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But because Gohan's Gohan, the leg bounce escalates into a full-on building shuddering earthquake.
And
everybody's like, oh no, an earthquake. We got to get onto your desks, everybody. Mm-hmm. So everybody does. And Gohan's like, oh, bye. And because he realizes he did it and he just runs out.
Now was the time.
That's his great escape. Yeah.
Videl is fighting the Bossman now.
Yeah. So Videl fights Bossman.
This dude's huge. They kind of get in each other's face a little bit.
He's very large.
And he's like 8 feet tall and wide.
Well, and 8 feet wide. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And I know that this is sexist for me to say, but like when he just punches Videl and Videl goes flying into the ground, I cringed a little bit. I'll watch Goku get hit all day and it doesn't bother me, but there was something about the size difference between the two characters that like she's so much smaller than he is. And it just
felt weird for you.
Yeah.
It might have been because it's scaled down to like a more normal human level instead of these god fists where they'll probably be okay after the hit. It feels a little more real because they're within a human capacity for taking damage, for being harmed.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a really good point. These are both humans. There's not a half Saiyan on the receiving end or anything.
Right, yeah. We've scaled down the power stuff like by a lot. Yeah. It's a full total reset. That's the name, Dragon Ball Z reset or Dragon Ball reset. That's what I'm going to call this.
Dragon Ball Reset.
Dragon Ball Reset.
I think you screwed up if the next evolution of your show is called Reset.
Or you got bought by Disney. One of the two.
Yeah.
You either got bought or you screwed up.
Anyway, she's not doing well.
Or it appears that she's not doing well, at least.
Yeah. Saiyaman shows up on the scene to rescue her, and immediately Videl's like, no, go away.
She's
I got
like,
this.
Get the fuck out of here, you with your weird cape. Leave.
And I really like this turn on the knight in shining armor, damsel in distress kind of thing. Because it could have easily, just been like, oh no, she's down. She's going to die if Gohan doesn't save her. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't ever hit that level, which is really great. They're more so a team, if anything.
You saying a team just reminded me of, she seems like a good guy 18. I, for some reason, forgot about the character of Android 18, but
because she might be in the opening credits, but she hasn't been in an episode yet. Neither is Krillin or Master Roshi or Yamcha or Tien or everybody in this show. Yeah. Most of the main characters are absent. They're regulated to cameo status for this arc.
Yes. Which I'm fine with. I'm perfectly okay
good.
with it.
It's perfect. It's a good use of the world.
I think Dragon Ball Z has always had a problem balancing throwing its characters into the show.
Every character has to be in every episode. It's or every arc at least. It's wild.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that at least these series of episodes, first one was obviously Goku focused. This one's Gohan focused. It's like, okay, let's trim it back. We'll have some cameos and stuff, but not everybody needs to show up. Perfect.
Yeah. Anyway, Videl beats the shit out of the boss. Videl actually beats the boss down after Gohan kind of distracts by knocking all the goons out with the guns.
Yeah, there's a couple good scenes. Like the goons go up against Gohan, put a gun against his back and say, get out of here, kid. And Gohan just tweaks the barrel with his fingers and twists the entire gun barrel, just spins it. And it's useless piece of metal now. Rocket launcher dude fires a rocket right at the mayor. He's like, screw it. We're so dead. I'm just going to kill the mayor. And Gohan steps in front of it and it stops the rocket with his energy. There's no blast or anything. He just Neos the rocket and starts sending it backwards as it's being propelled forwards. He's like, here, I think this belongs to you. As he's sending the rocket back to the guy and it explodes.
It backwards slow enough that it doesn't explode right on the guy, just next to him to hurt him.
Yeah.
So it's not killing him.
Yeah.
And I think this distracts the boss man to the point where Videl beats the shit out of him at that point. She beats his ass to the ground.
Yep. It's great. And then everybody's coming into the situation to handle it. Kingpin is down and Videl reluctantly thanks the Saiyaman for his help. But at the same time says that she's going to be the one to unmask him. She's going to get to the bottom of who he is.
I love their relationship. I love it.
It's great. That's my note.
It's there has to be a Marvel equivalent or a DC equivalent of I'm going to figure out who you are, Spider-Man, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is. I don't know
what it is off the top of my head either, but it's
really good.
It's a good dynamic. It works here really well. Anyway,
the very last part of the episode is Gohan walking with the other high schooler characters that we know, Videl, Marissa, and ass-face McDouchebag Mullet. Marissa says, so what's going on with you and Gohan? Because you two keep just leaving class at the same time. And Videl goes, and then turns around to where Gohan was. Gohan's gone. There's some other dialogue that goes on that's really good.
Yeah, they talk about how
Gohan is cooler than Mullet Fuck, and Mullet Fuck gets offended.
They compliment Gohan basically. Gohan is and Gohan can hear him. He's not that far away, but basically Gohan has found a friend group, a nice high school friend group. He's fitting in. He is welcomed and appreciated, and it's just cool.
It is.
It's good for him.
It is good for him. Good for you, Gohan.
Yeah. Episode 204. The Japanese title is A Case of Robbery. The culprit is Saiyaman. The American title is Blackmail.
My episode title is, you know what? I'm gonna do this thing that Sharam asked me to do and just generate one off the top of my head.
Just improv it?
I'm just gonna try and improv it. There's a thing that happens with the circus, and my brain went, it's the circus of values from BioShock. Which is, I guess that's what I'm gonna call the title of this episode.
That's not bad.
Also, I love it. Also, I love it. So Gohan and Goten start off I was confused by this at first.
Yeah, I was very much confused too. So they're in the land of pillars with trees on top of them. Probably the area where Gohan first trained with Piccolo as a kid. That kind of area. And Gohan is in a nest, a giant bird nest with an eggshell in it. They talk about creatures called Toto and Chobi that we've never, to my knowledge, have never heard of.
No, Chibi and...
Yeah, and Goten is there. He pops out of the nest and he's like, yeah, they're gone. I don't understand. Where'd they go? So they're dinosaur friends of theirs, apparently. I don't know if they were in like another episode at some point or something, like way back when, but Goten and Gohan have dinosaur friends. And they're missing now.
Yeah, as far as the storylines of these episodes go, this one is the weakest one for me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All the rest of them, amazing, but this one's kind of a little.
It's definitely more filler than the rest of them, but it does play a decent part in the overall arc of these 5, which is appreciated, but still the path to get there is a little rocky.
Yeah.
So we cut to Hercule's house.
This is one of my favorite parts, though.
I love it so much. He is an old man looking at past victories. He's watching videos of his old performances, drinking
wine, something.
Yeah. Videl approaches her dad. Well, first of all, before she gets there, he's like, oh yeah, show that guy who's boss. Yeah, go me. And then Videl walks in. He's like, oh, sweetie, I was just watching, brushed up on strategies. Look at my past fights. This is the episode there's mentioned that there's a new world tournament happening soon. Supposedly Hercule will be participating in. I think it's a little unclear.
Yeah, Videl says that Hercule should watch out for the fighter that won the tournament before Hercule. His name is Goku, and apparently he's super strong. And this whole scene shows Hercule's relationship to his daughter's relationship to him, how she sees through his bullshit, even though he puts it on. Yeah. He lays it on thick. When she first walks in, he's like, oh, I'm just... brushing up on strategy, and she just directly cut through. Yeah, well, you should worry about this guy Goku. I heard he was fucking strong. Mr. Satan almost breaks character to be like, I know about Goku. And then he goes back to character. He's using a bunch of tricks and he's full of shit. It's like, it's so well realized and so it's maybe the best scene of this whole episode.
Because if you know Hercule, you know that he cares about his daughter, but you know that he cares about his image. Just slightly more. Like it's
right, yeah.
It's neck and neck, but he does want to keep up that image. So Hercule calls Goku a magician. And he doesn't have to worry about him. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And we cut to this episode. Really does have a lot of good scenes.
It does,
even if the some of the parts don't quite equal the whole, but. We cut to Chi-Chi, Gohan, and Goten eating dinner. Chi-Chi's just sitting there cooking dinner. She's like, I hope you boys are hungry. And Goten says, not for meatloaf. And Chi-Chi's like, you'll eat what I put in front of you. Don't sass me. Which I just tiny little things. It's perfect. And they're watching TV while they're waiting for dinner. And they see an advertisement for the circus. The circus is in town. And in that advertisement, they spot a dinosaur. This is where it finally clicked for me and I understood what was going on.
Same.
Baby dinosaur in the circus is being forced to perform. That baby dinosaur was stolen very recently, and it is Gohan and Goten's friend from the nest.
Yes.
So Goten really, really wants Gohan to save his dinosaur friend. Gohan's like, no problem, kid. I got you.
Yep.
I'll take care of it. So Gohan decides to go to the circus and get the dinosaur back. It's a weird sentence.
Spencer loves how Gohan goes to the circus to get the dinosaur back.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the
so Gohan goes to the circus.
Oh, yeah. Gohan confronts the ringmaster first. He tries to go the good route.
Yeah, I like this. The polite, human, charismatic charisma route. The persuasion route.
Yeah, you make some persuasion. Except Gohan doesn't have direct charisma. He has anti-charisma that somehow works for him.
Yeah. And this circus leader is like Danny DeVito with sunglasses and a cigar and a giant purple top hat. Like,
he's
that should paint a decent picture. And I'm pretty sure he's voiced by Sean Schemmel, because a couple parts where he's really freaking out, he like skirted into Goku battle charging up
just a little bit. Yeah, I could see
just
that.
A little bit. I'm pretty sure it's Sean Schemmel.
I could agree with that. But the character, the ringmaster, is as awful as you'd expect for someone that steals baby animals and then hits them with whips to make them perform.
Yeah, exactly.
So it does not go well. He basically says, Jack and the Beanstalk stole the goose that lays the golden eggs. That's what I do to get my animals. That's it. That's the whole conversation for Gohan, who decides, okay, well, I'm just going to fucking steal it then, you son of a bitch.
Yep.
So Gohan leaves, finds the poor little animals crying, kind of afraid, and Gohan breaks it out, gets caught by one of the goons. I mean, but it's a human goon. So Gohan's just like, nah, knocks him up. Gohan chooses to start leaving. but is having a hard time holding onto the pterodactyl. Can't really fly with it, so Gohan has to start running. But then the cops show up behind Gohan because the cops are actually on the ringmaster's side. Gohan is technically breaking the law. Technically.
Yep. He's stealing property.
So the cops are coming after him and the ringmaster's with the cops. Gohan's like, all right, I can outrun cops. I don't give a shit. And Gohan starts going. And then Videl shows up, this is the big part of the episode. This is the big confrontation between Videl and Gohan, where Videl hops down and points at Gohan. It's like, you are a piece of shit trying to steal stuff. Glad that I finally know your true colors. So Gohan appeals to Videl, but Videl starts trying to beat the shit out of Gohan. And it's a really cool little fight scene because, of course, Videl's not going to touch Gohan. It's fucking Gohan. She's not going to hit him, and she's trying real hard. Videl doesn't get frustrated that she can't actually hit him at all. It's almost like there's, okay, you know the Dragon Ball Z dance where there's like punch, punch, stab, and chat? This one is like punch, few words, punch, few words, punch, few words. Punch.
It flows much better. Yes. Yeah, it's really good. And Gohan is like thinking in his brain, okay, obviously Videl's no contest for me, but I got to find a way to stop the fight without embarrassing her because she's still a hero to the city.
He's balancing all these things because he's also saying that the reason he's bringing the pterodactyl back, the little dinosaur, isn't because he just wants to bring it home. It's because the parents are going to show up to the city and fuck up the city because the parents of this tiny baby are huge monsters.
He has like this Godzilla vision in his head of these parents coming to find their baby in the city. Mm. And it's going to be bad. Basically, he's unsuccessful at convincing Videl until the Godzilla parents show up. And then almost instantly, Videl is on Gohan's side. Gohan, disguised as Saiyaman, is yelling at these dinosaurs as they're flying overhead. Because I said Godzilla, but they're really more pterodactyls. They're still giant, but they can fly.
Yeah.
So they're sweeping down and trying to attack these people that, they think took their baby. Mm-hmm. And Gohan's like, hey, you know me, I've known you since I was a kid. Videl yells, Saiyaman, dinosaurs don't understand English, which is great.
Yeah.
And he's like, I know, but I know if I can get him to recognize my voice, then maybe we can do something. Of course, he's disguised by the costume until he yells, guys, don't you recognize me? It's me. It's Go. And then stops himself.
Because right next
Videl's
to Videl.
Still there. And Toto, one of the big dinosaurs, does recognize Gohan's voice at last. Sean Schemmel, Circus Man, grabs a gun that one of the cops was holding, like one of the cop guns, and runs over and holds them up, has a gun pointed at all of them. Videl, who had brought handcuffs over to arrest Gohan, or Saiyaman, decides to frisbee them into the gun. The gun goes off. The gun going off freaks out the parent dinosaur enough that Gohan can't calm them down, and Gohan has to punch a dinosaur in the stomach.
It just knocks him the fuck out immediately.
Just knocks him out. Doesn't kill him, but knocks him out.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, okay, got the baby, got the knocked out parent, knocked out mama's going to follow me back to the nest. I'm going to grab these guys and take off.
During the punch that Gohan does to knock it out, he gets scratched in the face a little bit.
Oh, very important. Yeah, you're right. His cheek gets scratched up.
Bleeds a little bit.
Yeah. And so he takes off. Videl's like, oh, Circus Man, you're going to jail. And he's like, no, I'm not. That guy stole my stuff. And the police officers, yeah, you can do whatever you want with dinosaurs. That's not a crime. But stealing an officer's sidearm sure is, which puts a little capper on that, which I liked. Yep. Just like realism coming in to quell the anime nonsense of the character getting the gun.
And
it was fun.
Did you notice that in Japanese, they don't actually do a lot of those things? They don't talk about so many of the little tie-ups that in English, they just kind of like scoop and fill out some of these harder edges of the show with
and I think that's part of the appeal of the dub.
Yes.
Is that it gives them a chance to be like, this doesn't make sense. Can we like brush this up with some dialogue just to kind of patch over?
Yes.
It doesn't always happen, but I really like when it does because it shows that they care.
Oh my God.
Just as much as we do.
Yes. The writers gave a shit this time around. Like they gave a lot of a shit. I very rarely have thought they should have done it like this. I think we said it like one thing they should have done differently throughout all 5 of these episodes. And usually we're like, man, how come they don't blah, 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 blah. We're usually throwing out all kinds of.
No, they did really well this time.
I think that's it. And then it's the next day. Videl is hanging out by Gohan's locker. Videl sees Gohan's got the scratch on his face.
He's got a little Band-Aid covering it up.
And she rips it off and she's like, I know, asshole. I fucking know.
That's the straw that broke the camel's back. She finally puts all the pieces into place enough that she is confident in yelling in public that Gohan is the great Saiyaman.
Yes.
And Gohan is also the straw that broke the camel's back. He's tired of covering it up and he's like, oh crap. Yeah, probably.
He just folds immediately. Like, yeah, okay, yes. Videl says, I'm going to tell everybody your secret unless you join the World Martial Arts Tournament and fight me, which is such a fucking Dragon Ball Z thing to do. It's such really a fucking Dragon Ball Z thing to do. And Gohan's like, oh, okay. And Videl also goes over, like, I also heard a little thing about a Goku who has the same last name as you.
Yeah, it's weird that, like, there is evidence out there that Goku exists in the world, like a social security card kind of deal. And that he has a son. Like, it's so weird. But anyway, he finds out.
Yeah.
Or she finds out.
She's just doing her own research and figuring all this stuff out, like someone who gets called to aid the cops and is probably the most effective anti-criminal fighting force in the entire city would do. She's just so competent and well realized and overall fantastic. And this last scene where she goes, and one more thing, you're going to teach me how to fly. And then she leaves. I'm so glad we're doing 5 episodes at a time.
It's a really good stopping point for sure. I liked his episodes a lot. It was a nice change of pace. I like Gohan being aged up. I like the renewed focus on Gohan as a character. It just is good. It's just good.
But I'm super concerned because it is this good. And we've hit these points before where we're like, it's so good. This is super good in a different way that it's never been before, which makes me even more concerned because we know.
Yeah, it's just getting better. But the storm's a coming.
The storm. Yeah.
Yeah, John, there is a storm a coming. But will it hit in these next few episodes? Find out next time on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z. Thank you for listening to Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z. You may hate the show, but he loves that you're listening. If you want to send us some feedback, feel free to email us at mail@ehdbz.com. You can also find us on Twitter under the handle @EricHatesDBZ. We're on Instagram. I've got a guild on Dragon Ball Legends.
Oh my God, you keep bringing that up. Are you really playing that like a lot? Is that why?
I log in for like 20 minutes every day.
And that's it? Are you sure that's it?
Yeah, usually.
Really?
It depends. If there's like an event or something, I'll probably clock in a couple more times throughout the day just to get things rolling and get rewards and stuff. But it's not like I'm definitely not playing as much as I played like Fallout when it first came out or Skyrim or whatever, you know.
Okay.
Like it's still very much a mobile game, but like if I'm just waiting for water to boil when I'm cooking dinner, I'll open it up just to look around.
I respect your restraint. I guess you do that with all the games that I've played with you. You're kind of like touch and go with it. Like you can play it for a little while and then go do some other stuff.
It's good and bad because I get a lot more variety in my life, but I also never get good enough or play long enough to actually cultivate any kind of skill or camaraderie.
I don't know. When we were playing Warzone, you good enough that I'd say you're probably like the best shooter on the team.
Yeah, Warzone was really fun.
It was mixed feelings.
If you enjoy this podcast and want to support us, check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/EHDBZ. We also want to shout out all of our patrons because it's the end of an episode and that's what we do. Those wonderful people that make this podcast possible are Spencer Feuerstein, Tyler Hiat, I apologize if that's incorrect, Alistair King, Andrew Winden, Dan, Richard, Alita Gilbert, Hearse ran out of gas, not horse ran out of gas. Jeffrey Grimm, CJ Collins, Croy Keener, he emailed us. That's the correct pronunciation.
Hey, holy shit.
It is like LaCroix, the sparkling water. And Felix Rodriguez. Thank you guys so much for your contributions. Tell your friends.
Yeah. We're around.
We don't care. Thanks for listening and contributing.
We don't give a shit. Fuck a pun. Goodbye.
Yeah. Pun. Let's see.
These episodes are really good. Don't know what the future holds, but there's only one way to Videl.
There's only one way to Videl.
It was supposed to be tell. That was not even a pun.
There is only...
That was not even a pun. I don't know what's wrong with me lately on these puns. I think...
Until we watch them, there's no way to Videl.
Did you see where I was going with it, though, at least?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
Bad.
I just expected a different word there. We both have a feling that this series isn't going to end Videl.
Hey, that one's better. That one's better.
It's a pun.
Yeah. Kind
All
of.
right, bye.
Whatever.
Just call it. Just call it. Just call it. Just call it. Just call it.